Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. How are you all doing this evening? This is Tyrone Milade, your goddess guru. And y'all know I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. Y'all know that I am on a sprint. Or is this a marathon? Am I a crazy lady? I am going live every day in April. Oh my gosh, here I am. And I'm doing in business what we call failing forward, baby. Failing forward. Because, I don't have this thing all mapped out. I'm just sort of like, what do I talk about today? What do I think the sisters would benefit from and find interesting? And I not feel like I'm a broken record. Hello, let's see who. Hey, Johnny, greetings. How are you, goddess? How are you? Okay, so this evening I thought it would be cool to talk about the NLP. I was communicating with Eileen today, and hey, Eileen. Hello, Empress. Yes, I'm gonna put this up here. Neuro-linguistic programming. So maybe folks are interested. Yes, I thought it would be interesting. Eileen was telling me that, might be people just now finding out about this. And even though it's been around, like the creators of NLP are actually still alive. So it's pretty new. Um, yes. Yes, we know exactly what you meant. We knew it. Look, I'm gonna put this up here that way. If you're like me, it's like, no, I need everybody to know. I know how to spell neuro. I got you, Empress T. um, so yeah, not everyone knows about this. And so I thought, well, this would be something interesting to talk about tonight. Now, y'all saw that I had shared mm, where is this thing? Hold on one. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna move it over here. There we go. Boom. Yes. I had shared this the other day. Um, and it's a very well, I say the other day, but I really mean, I think this was like last week that I shared this, where I was talking about what was I talking about? I don't know. I was talking about something and I decided I wanted to show I know what it was. I was talking about Will Smith and and Jada Pinkett Smith and Chris Rock, and how the way everyone saw what happened, it's folks feel like they know exactly what's going on with them. But honestly, there was like a ton of opinions on this thing. And I used what we're taught in NLP as an explanation. Projection is what's on the inside of you. Okay. Projection is perception, is how we see it. And so we have all these filters on the inside of us. And what I want y'all to really focus on is this word right here, internal representation. Because hey, Mystic Storm, how are you, Queen? Um, Internal representation is what really sold me. Now, I talked about how I learned about NLP, and I honestly think that the person I had heard talking about NLP like 20 years ago, was it 20? Maybe more like 15 years ago. I think it was Michael Stevenson who that's the company I went through. It's called Transform Destiny. I went through his company to get my um, certification. And but what happened was during the pandemic, I attended this I guess you could say it's an experience. It's called Create Your Life with NLP. And when I went through that, uh, it was so profound. It was such a profound experience. And it showed me what's possible with NLP and hypnosis. And so, this internal representation, when I heard those words, that's what really stood out for me. And what NLP has helped me to realize is that, how we talk about, you want to visualize and you want to see what you want. And, that's how you can, that's how we manifest. But how many of us have worked to manifest something for years? And we're like, no, manifestation does not work like that. It absolutely doesn't. I'm not sure why I keep saying I want fill in the blank. And I visualize it, but for some reason it doesn't materialize. Well, NLP, neuro linguistic programming, is what helps you to understand that you have what is called an internal representation. There is literally a world that you have set up on the inside of you, and it has all this programming. It has it's almost like tripwires what happened. It was a little bit, like, disturbing to me when I first started hearing people talk about, we don't really make a lot of decisions. We're actually a lot of just straight up programming. It's disturbing when you think, "No, I'm like a sentient being and I make all the decisions for my life." And you come to realize, "No, I don't. I'm really and truly a reflection of what's in my subconscious mind and what my internal representation is." And it's all these things that kind of trigger. So we have all these things firing out off on, how do we do stuff? We call them strategies. How do we do these things? It's a strategy. The reason we do what we do is it's all kinds of programs that are based on past experiences or some decisions that you've made. We have beliefs. It shows you all in here. We have all of this going on in the inside of us. And then we have the external environment going on around us. And this is dictating what is possible. And so when we're not consciously aware, well, okay, there's a conscious mind, there is the subconscious mind, there's the superconscious mind, there's this thing called the critical factor. And then there's the RAS. What is this thing? RAS is it'll come back to me. So we have all this stuff going on. And what we're conscious of is a very small part of, what's really happening. It's so much more going on. But the way we are designed is we can't take it all in, or else we would never get anywhere. We would never do anything because we would just be like overwhelmed with all the processing of the information. And so we have parts of ourselves that are like, okay, what does she want? And it's subconscious. It's like subconsciously reading like your thoughts, your beliefs, how you identify yourself as. And then it is like, okay, this is the kind of experience she wants. All right, come on, everybody. Let's get this thing on and popping. And so this thing called the critical factor is like, all right, we are gonna decide what's possible for her based on the programming that she is operating according to. And that's the only thing we're going to let in and out. If it's anything that doesn't line up with, this programming that she has, it will not be allowed in or out. And so we want certain things, we want certain experiences, relationships, whatever. But because our internal representation does not line up with it, then we wonder why. It's like, well, I have this desire, but why won't it come to me? And that is because we need to address the programming, and that is what NLP is all about. NLP is designed to help you. These are called the layers The layers of the mind, I guess you could see. The time and location is not a layer of the mind, but all of these are layers that we have on the inside of us. And once we begin to and the way it works is we want to go to the deepest layer. The more we affect at the deepest layers of ourselves, like, um yeah, all of these are pretty deep though, now that I think about it. A behavior is not deep. You know, a lot of times we're looking at changing our behavior, but until we begin to go into the deeper layers of the mind, it's the way I like looking at it is sometimes it's a blind spot, but the crazy thing about the blind spot is we don't actually know. Hey everybody, how y'all doing? We don't actually know, and thank y'all for all the likes and all the love. I appreciate you. We don't actually know that it's there, and therefore, but what we do know is we don't have the result that we want, and that's the clue. If something is not working in your life, then that's the clue. And NLP can help you to begin to make these changes. So, for me, it's like one thing I can say about NLP work. Honestly, once we start moving past some of this, it's like, man, I don't remember what it was that was my hang up. Oh, okay, boom. Spirit gave it to me. Okay. So, one of the things that we do in NLP is we do something that is called like to dislike. Okay. And so when I was going through my training, they were like, I'm going to put myself up here just so I'm a little bit bigger. When I was going through my training, we all had to come up with something that we wanted to not like anymore, and it needed to be a food. And so I chose barbecue potato chips. In particular, and they were like, the more specific you can get on what it is, the better. So just to say potato chips, they were like, no, get more specific. And so, what are these? Kettle chips. Kettle chips, barbecue, and it's 2 different kinds. It doesn't matter. Love them, right? And the way I would like low key buy them for myself would be like, well, I'm gonna get them for the husband and the children and the sons because they're not children no more. I would get them for the husband and the sons. Or whether when they were children, I did do this too. And I would always end up like, because they eat in moderation, but I'm like, "Nah, I'm not eating these in moderation. These are good." It's like just a little bit. And, you have little measuring cups, so I'm making myself feel all good about it. I would get like several of those. And I was fed up with it because I have made a decision that I like, slimming my body down, living in a certain manner, eating a certain way. Doesn't mean I can't have chips, but that these were not good for me. It's like I couldn't say no. So eating in moderation, all that kind of good stuff. And so, oh, I'm gonna take these off. I keep forgetting these kind of hurt my head a little bit. So I said I want to dislike these kettle chips, right? The barbecue, backyard barbecue or something like that, kettle chips. And so sure enough, we do this. It's techniques that we use, and it's about helping to make a shift that your mind will accept, that the subconscious mind. NLP is more about the mind, the subconscious mind. And so it helps to speak the language of the mind and do techniques that will allow the mind to accept whatever the change is so that you know, trying to just not buy those chips was not working because I was going to find a way because in my deep, deep subconscious mind, I was aligned with those chips, right? But when we did this technique of like to dislike, then you just get to a point where you're like, I don't even remember what I was telling you about. Like, what is it? And honestly, I have not thought about those chips. I pass by them. I don't feel anything about them, and I'm letting myself not even think about it too much because I don't wanna go back there. But literally, I have not thought about those chips. And so these are the kinds of things that NLP can do for you. Um, my favorite okay, so NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, and it's largely about, like I said, using the language of the mind to create change. And yeah, that would be the best way to describe it. Another thing too about neurolinguistic programming, this is my favorite definition of it, is it's about modeling excellence. And so it's really about helping people begin to figure out what's going on, what kind of change do you need to be made? Do you have a phobia? Do you have um, something that is a problem? You can't, I don't want to use the word addiction because we don't deal with diagnoses, but it's more of like a compulsion. And so you're like, I want to stop doing this. Maybe you need to be motivated to do something. Um, maybe you want to feel more motivation when it comes to writing books or something like that. Another one is about what is your state, controlling your state. That's a big thing in NLP is you want to always be in charge of your state. You can be. And so I love learning that confidence is a state that you can invoke. And so we do this thing called anchoring. So all of us have anchors. We all have anchors. So if let me think here. Um, one anchor may be I'm trying to think of one that I've used in the past before I really knew what NLP was. But you know how it's like you tell yourself when this happens, then this series of events will happen, or this is how I'm going to feel, or whatever. It's like you attach energy to something, and no matter what, it's almost like Pavlov's dogs. That thing will create, it will fire off. Sometimes it's more of like a trigger. And so we are wanting to figure out, and most of us are dealing with triggers that are leading us to behaviors that we don't like. So I'll use I'll go the opposite way. So when I used to here's one. I would go into the kitchen and open the pantry, and I knew if I saw the cashews, then I was gonna wanna eat the cashews because that was a trigger. I don't know how I got this set up like this, but that was a trigger. And so I had to unanchor myself from that. And the way I did that was I started putting the cashews in a different spot, like never just leaving in the same spot, and even putting something in front of them to keep that from triggering me from wanting cashews. Okay. Simple example. But we can take an anchor away and we can add one. And so, one anchor that we like to do is called a resource anchor, where you take a part of your body that you don't typically touch, like maybe your ear or a knuckle, and that nobody else touches because it gets fired off. I chose right here on my finger, and we attach states to it. So it's like, what's 5 states you want to feel? Maybe energy, maybe confidence, maybe I don't know what all the states were, but we chose different states that were positive. And there's techniques that we use. So let's say if I go somewhere and I feel nervous and I'm feeling like, oh, I'm losing my confidence, then I can press right here, and then it will fire off the energy of, well, it'll fire off energy because that's one of the things that's on there, and it'll fire off confidence. And so that's it's let me see what y'all are saying. Maybe I have questions. Let me know if you have questions because I know it sort of sounds weird. Okay, good. Peg is like, love that. Okay. I think you're talking to me, Peg. Let me see what before I'm just assuming. Hey, Peg. Hey, Felicia. Yes, you have your NLP book from him. Good. Glad, Peg. Yes, I need to get that replay uploaded for the SAI ladies. I'm actually going on a 1-day retreat next week, and the therapist specializes in NLP hypnosis, shamanic practitioner. Wow. That's going to be so good. It has changed my life. Yes, NLP is amazing. Okay, so I'm going to tell y'all something else that I did. I was going to tell y'all about timeline techniques. So mm, let me see if I can find. I want to show y'all something. I think this is really cool. Um, okay, so sorry if I'm scrolling too much. I want to find this internal representation. Um, well, I'll show you this. Um, So this right here is a timeline, and there's a way that we can access our timeline on the inside. And because like I'll tell you what, let me take y'all through this. So I'm gonna ask you right now to just close your eyes, and I want you to see you standing on a timeline. It's your timeline. And I'm going to ask you a question because I want to discover where is the past for you. When I ask you, when you were a little girl, maybe about 9 years old, what was your favorite dress to wear or your favorite piece of clothing to wear? Because it may not have been a dress. What was the color of your favorite outfit? What was the color of your favorite outfit? Are you looking to the right? Are you looking to the left? Are you looking up, down, forward, backwards? Drop it into the comments. When you're looking for that past memory, which direction do you look in? And I'm just going to wait for you all to put that um, in the comments. And I'm going to see something really quickly. Okay, I'm going to use somebody else's stuff because I get nervous about using people's copyrighted stuff. Anywho, this is online. So, um, in front of you, okay, the past is in front. Past is in front for Peg, for Empress T. So that is the past, okay, for y'all. For me, when I look to the past, and look, you even see my head, I went like this. The past is that direction for me. When I think about the future, I look in that direction. When I close my eyes and I'm looking for the future. So if I ask you right now, next Tuesday, what are you doing at noon? Let's say you know, which direction are you looking for that future memory? So for Eileen, the past is to her left. Yes, that's how I am too. If you're looking for what are you going to be doing next Tuesday at noon, which direction are you looking in on the inside of you? This is an example of that internal representation. If I ask you, Felicia, to think, okay, so Peg looks up. So in front is Peg's past, up is Peg's future. Front is Empress T's past, and to the right is Empress T's future. It doesn't really matter how it's shaped. Looking for the to the right for the future. Beautiful. Doesn't matter, like it doesn't really matter where it is. It's just where do you look? So Felicia, if I were to ask you to think back to um when you were like a new mom, which direction are those memories held in? If you go inside of you, which direction would you look for those memories? Because we all have, like, it's a world on the inside of us. When we really think about it, it's a world. Everything isn't just right here. Like, if I were to ask you to think about, the classmates who sat next to you when you were in school, like, that would be very far away. Their energy, for the most part, unless you're still connected to them, that would be a little bit far out, maybe even not a lot of color or energy in it. And then the classmates or the people who you work with now or who you spend a large amount of time with, their energy is gonna be a little bit more up on you in your sphere, because we have a world. That's that inner representation that I had mentioned to you. Let me see here. Where's my little book? Where is where is it? I have way too many windows open over here. I think I used the window, but anywho, that inner representation, it's a whole world. If I ask you to think about the food you like the least, identify where would you go looking to access it. It's like a library on the inside of us, and we're going to go accessing we're going to go access the information. Where inside of the library of you would you find the information, my least favorite food? Where would that be? Like, oh, for me, it's down the left side of me, down below, like down to the left and down. And it's pretty far down there, right? Because I don't really want to think about this food. It's like, oh, get away from me. And it doesn't really have a lot of color to it. Okay, let me see what else y'all are saying. Past, inside, future, forward, ahead. Yes. And so, just as long as you know where this is stored inside of you, that's all that matters, right? And so, with timeline techniques, we use these to go find where stuff is stored, especially in the past. You don't even have to know exactly what it is. It's not about diving into it. NLP, we're not trying to relive trauma. We're working to release it. And so, with timeline techniques, we go find, let's say you have anger, some unresolved anger in you that's preventing you from experiencing maybe a relationship that you really want, right? Now, you may not even know that anger is preventing you, but just remember, I talked about the deep, the levels of the mind. And so, the anger may be there, is preventing you from having the relationship, but you don't really know that, right? Remember, a lot of this is unconscious to us. But when we do timeline techniques, what we're doing oftentimes, especially the first time we do them, is we're going to go find that original time that you got angry. And you can see here in the past, it doesn't say it on here, but in the past, it would be, was it in the past of this lifetime? Was it in the womb that you got this anger that got stuck? And it's an unconscious programming that's running within you and perhaps creating some issues for you. Was it before you were in the womb? And if it was before you were in the womb, is it generational, or is it other lifetime? Is it past lifetime? So we can go on the inside of you and access this vastness that resides within inside of you to help you understand what's there and shift it. Maybe it's something that's stuck. Maybe there's a limiting decision that has been put there that you have to go in, get on this timeline, and go release and let go. Um, Maybe you want to insert a program inside of you. And so we do those kinds of things too, where it's like, I want to exercise. Okay, you want to exercise. So, what are some things that we can do to begin to shift your inner representation? Go deep, deep, deep in the mind. The deeper the change or where you affect change, the deeper you go to do that inside of the mind, the more profound the change will be, the more long lasting the change will be. I think also the easier the change will be. And so now when I go to make changes, y'all know I've been working on losing weight or donating weight to the universe. I still had myself sort of caught up in this rut of, when you want to lose weight, these are the things you're supposed to do. You got to work out at a certain time. You got to plan out all your meals and, all this behavioral stuff. And last week, I was like, you know what? I'm not using all the tools that I have. And that's when I decided that I would um, go hard on the hypnosis and then start using some of my NLP techniques to help me. So, going back to the anchor on my finger, when I exercise, once I'm done, especially if it's been a good session, um, I'm in a really like I feel good. I'm saying to myself, I love exercising. Then I will put that on this anchor. So that's one thing I started doing. It was like, let me anchor feeling good about exercise. And then like I have multiple subliminals and hypnosis tracks on eating and working out. And I put them on like last thing at night, first thing in the morning. Sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night, I will turn one of those on and I'm going hard on the hypnosis. And so that's making more of the difference because I'm affecting change on the deepest level of my mind. I'm speaking the language of my mind. That's what NLP is about. Speak the language of the mind. Because what ends up happening is that critical factor. I don't even know why I'm pointing here, but the critical factor. Ooh, let me stand up for a second. Is pretty much the gatekeeper. And so if I have a programming inside of me that is like exercise is dangerous, which was what I realized is how I started feeling. My own exercise was not safe for me because I was teaching dance and fitness. And so it was like, that's all I can do. I can't work out on my own. It's not good for me. Then then I began to realize, well, the critical factor is like there's no way she can exercise. Like we've got to do everything we can to make sure she does not exercise. And that is what I experienced. It was just like zero motivation to exercise. And I was just like, I've always loved exercising. Why am I not exercising? So, just starting to use all this NLP and hypnosis, I started just slowly but surely shifting all of that, not through behavior, through NLP. And the one thing I will say, I'm going to see if I can go back to what I had. Let me see here, y'all. Hold on a second. I don't know where this is. It's not that. I don't know what I did with my little. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not that. Here we go. Um, yes. So when we go back here, this right here, I know for a fact that identity and values that those would create the biggest shift. These will create the biggest shift for us. And so, I start telling myself every day, I love working out and it's safe for me to work out. This is what I do. Like, yeah, of course I work out. Like every day I'm telling myself, this is what I do. It's a part of my lifestyle. I value it. And just programming myself, linguistic programming, because I realize I must adopt the identity. And that's a lot of what I'm pouring into my consciousness. And it's making a difference. I've lost weight. Same for me, down to the left. Okay. I've lost weight. I'm starting to exercise every day. And it feels natural. And that's really the point that I want to make to you all. Whatever the changes are that we want, and NLP is about bringing more into your life of what you want. It's not just about letting go of the problems, but let's say I want to be more organized or productive, open myself up to more abundance. It's about removing um, limits, the limits that we adopt. I used to do readings, and when I would get Haru, I would say, well, you want to address your programming, you want to release your conditionings. Well, now I can tell you how to do it. I can actually lead you through it as an NLP practitioner. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about NLP a little bit tonight to help people understand that there is a path forward. Wherever you are struggling in your life, you can get assistance with through NLP, through hypnosis, and I even say through coaching. So, any questions? Any questions? Okay, well, thank y'all for being here with me this evening. Yeah, I'll be here in the morning actually to do a mindfulness practice. So I hope that you all will join me. Also, there is a new moon workshop that I am offering. Actually, we're calling it a new moon focused retreat. That will be next Tuesday. Glad you enjoyed this, Peg. Yes. I The more I learn about the subconscious mind and um just this kind of work, it's like, wow, I wish I had known this sooner. I wish I had taken a dive sooner into NLP, like signed up for courses, became an NLP practitioner, all that kind of good stuff, because it has made such a difference in my life. I would say this is on the level of astrology, for how impactful it is. Yes, Eileen says, no question, but NLP is for me. Yes, Eileen and I have done some work together with the NLP. So, yeah, it's real. It's real. So, yeah, but I would love to have y'all join me in the New Moon Retreat next week. It's focused on the upcoming eclipses. And I just want to make sure I can help you all have the best experience with the eclipses. It's a way to make significant change. But, we want the change to be as gentle as possible. So, thank y'all so much for being here with me this evening. It has been, as usual, lovely. And yeah, have a wonderful week. We talked yesterday about how the astrology for this week is pretty gentle. I know some of y'all's birthdays are tomorrow. Taurus season started today. And yeah, it does work, Eileen. It does work. But yeah, gentle week. I hope that it's gentle for you all. We need it to be gentle because, hey, eclipses are coming up, baby. We need all the help we can get. Thank you all so much. Yes. Thank you, Felicia. All right. Y'all take care. Love y'all so much. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. And yeah, see y'all in the morning. Love you, Valen. Love you all.